Yeah, I forgot. So our regular board meeting will be recorded and uploaded to our district website. The definitive documentation and decisions of the board are found in our meeting minutes. Any use of an electronic device such as a computer or cell phone during the meeting is related to the business of the board. And our core values that guide our work are respect, responsibility, relationships, compassion, and honest. And I'd like to acknowledge that today's board meeting is being held within the traditional territory of the Nineveh and Treaty State. We'll start by taking a look at our agenda. For today's meeting, could I please have a mover and a seconder for that? Moved by Bill, seconded by Thomas. Are there any additions to our regular board meeting agenda? All in favor then of proceeding with the agenda as presented? And we'll start tonight with a presentation or a delegation. We'll do our official signing of our Halfway River First Nation LEA. Get rid of all the junk in the presents.
Yeah.
Let's do it at that table there.
Yeah.
And then we can, I won't block Leah out. So we can have Leah's picture.
Is this a renewal or is
It's
it?
a renewal.
Sorry, renewal. Yes.
It's a renewal.
Yes. Yes.
I went through it. I couldn't see a lot of difference, but so Stephen and I get to sign it, and Angela.
Sorry.
Want the ticket?
No, I'll get Helen here. Great. Sorry, one more, Helen. Great, thank you.
Okay. Right. We're going to take a look at trustee engagements and celebrations, and we'll start with Trustee Campbell.
Here I am. Went to the Academy in Vancouver in November. And when we had our committee of the whole meeting in Beldonald, we heard how the kids had gone to the hockey tournament in Dawson and cheered so loudly and deserved tidbits. So I went to the schools and delivered some tidbits to the kids that had gone to the hockey game. And I went to the AO Christmas supper and the district Christmas party. I've been to my PAC meetings. And today Helen and I went to Beldonald and did a craft preschool day out there. We had fun.
Great. Vice Chair Gilla.
I also attended the committee of the whole meeting in Beldonald, and on Friday night, I spent the night at the Hudson's Hope School gym as the chaperone for the volleyball sleepover.
Ooh.
Where they had full reign of the entire school, and they played, it's cute, like they're 13, 14, and 15, but they still play like kids. They played cops and robbers. So they're running all over school, but the gym is like the safe. And I was the mean chaperone who finally at 1:30 said, okay.
That's it.
I think that's it for cops and robbers. I'm trying, I need to get to sleep here, but yeah.
All right, trustee Lehman.
I was at the BCSD Academy as well in Vancouver. Attended the Christmas dinner, the Christmas dinner, Clearview Christmas concert. I think one of the few ones that are still.
It's mostly jingle this year.
And they have staff, one staff out there that always writes their own script. And it's actually very impressive. She's able to include, everything from K to grade 9. So it's always a good turnout.
Sherry?
Yep. And then I went to the North Peak Christmas market.
Trustee Scott Moncrief, we are glad you're feeling better.
I am too. Sorry I missed the party. I've been in touch with all of my schools. The two of them have their Christmas party on Thursday night. Fantastic. I can't make it both. I'm not that good. I can't make both. That is about the extent of my report.
Okay. Trustee Whitten.
I was able to make it to the party, which was fantastic. Very well attended. It was really nice to see new fresh faces there. It seemed like a little bit of a different crowd. Everybody got up and had a really good time. On top of that, I can't remember if this was past month, but I'm going to talk about it anyway. Petroleum Association Bonspiel. It was a great time. We had made a lot of new friends and saw some old faces. It's been really good to connect with people. And that's my report.
Hey, Trustee Snow.
I went down to Vancouver to the academy, had a good time there. I also attended the pre-conference part. Then I disappeared for a couple of weeks, came back this week and the ball was rolling. On Saturday, I was at Kearney with my red suit on. Tomorrow, I'm at the high school for their luncheon with my red suit. So Wednesday night, I'm at Alan Holland for their Mingle Jingle. Take pictures. And I've been to the school. I went in for a check every day with Providence High School. I was over on last Thursday with Melissa Embers. Yeah, real good. Lovely time.
Yeah.
So Helen, it's just made me think of it. Bill was at the pre-conference in Vancouver. That bag I gave you is his little salts are in there because he didn't want to travel with them to help.
Okay.
So she has your little facts.
And also, I mean, I know we all appreciate her, but I'd really like to thank Ida for putting together the gift boxes. I know we all pitched in, but she always makes organized and makes them look really nice.
All right. So between last meeting and this one, I did get to go and watch some of the grade 5-6 girls elementary volleyball tournament. On your behalf, I attended an NPA meeting, the VPAC-SUPAC meeting. At Academy, I went a day early because we had a rural and remote network meeting that we did, and I got to go to pre-conference and I wove a cedar thing, which was kind of exciting. And at Academy, I presented as part of a panel on childcare. So that was a surprise. Baldonald for Committee of the Whole, the NPA Christmas dinner, Indigenous Education Council, and the Christmas party. So lots of fun times had. All right, moving on to item number.
Right? That's what you're talking about there?
Yeah.
We made these down there.
She figured out how to use them.
Yes.
And I said I wasn't ready for Ready, Set, Learn when we were doing that.
All right. We're looking at agenda item number 5, which is minutes of our regular board meeting of November the 17th, which is pages 6 to 17 in your packet. Give you a chance to look at them. All right, please get a mover and a seconder. Moved by Thomas, seconded by David. For errors and our omissions, there are a couple of corrections. When we talked about conflict of interest, David thought he was in the yellow zone. He's actually in the red zone, so the minutes will be reflective of that. And in our policies that we were reviewing, there was a numbering error. The actual policy was right, but the number attached to it was incorrect. So that is being fixed or has been fixed. So with those corrections to the minutes, all in favor of approving them? Thank you. Okay, moving on to announcements and reminders. And we've got dates starting to come at us in 2026.
Where's the approval of the excerpts of the in-camera board meeting?
Okay, yep, I missed 6. We'll go back to 6. Thank you. See, we pull that slide. All right, we're going to look at the excerpts of the in-camera board meeting of October the 20th, which is page 18 in your package, please. Hey, could I please get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Madeline, seconded by Ida. Any errors or omissions? Calling the question then, all in favor? Carried. Now we'll move on to item number 7, announcements and reminders.
You have a question? The Presbyterian one?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be 3-6 p.m.
The graduation ceremony will be at 3 o'clock and probably the dinner at 6. So we have our, thanks Leah for making sure we've got that date on there.
She said that they always do it in February, and I do it.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't, so we learned something. Right. Are there any other announcements and reminders?
I have a question on the committee of the wholes.
Yeah.
Which one is the policy committee? The January one? Not that it makes a difference.
And should we discuss the board advance as per Stephen's email?
No, we did, we'll do that later on. We did it as part of our follow-up from the committee of the whole business. So we'll talk about that. Just a reminder, we need somebody else for the SUPAC meeting in February. And if you are scheduled for a SUPAC meeting and you can't make it, let myself know or Ida. We've been willing to step in when people haven't been there. So we are looking for somebody for the February meeting. You go into that Excel spreadsheet that Sharon Schell sent. You can go in and add your name on any of the ones that are missing.
I'll go in and put February for sure.
Okay, thank you, Ida. Moving on then to item number 8 on our agenda, senior staff reports, and we'll start with Stephen's report.
Thanks, Alan. Item number 1 on soup report is the HR activity report. Under education, the online report, which we'll go through now. First up, was at Prescott 2 School and took in one of the capstone presentations. And it's, it's part of a curriculum that we don't often talk about here. And so it was kind of a good refresher both for myself and it's part of the Career Life Connections program. I've included a link there. And so this was Ferris McPherson from Prescott 2. His passion project was around tanning of hides. So he did that with his family and went through that with the 2 teachers who were there evaluating, and it was really good. I've included for the trustees and the public, it's a flyer from Chilliwack District. I chose this one because it really encapsulates what it is, as opposed to the sort of 50-page document that Career Life Connections lays out for capstone projects. So that's a good reminder. Also pretty impressed with the deaf and hard of hearing student panel that occurred. That was Sally Burley that brought together some students, current, former, and to talk just about their journeys through education systems as well as work systems. It's like to face some of those barriers, and that seemed to go very well. The district supported them with their transportation needs to set up that panel. With our own Matt Prepost here, I filled the board in last time around the go-kart club, but Matt did a much better job than I did. And so he gives quite a detailed report here. Thank you, Matt, by the way. Around all of the sort of side benefits of the club and the program and where they're looking at going in the future. So really appreciate that in-depth reporting with our teacher, Will McComb. Under student learning, human and social development, lots of items here. We've resurrected the fruit and veggie program because we got a donation specifically for that purpose. And most importantly, they've revamped how they deliver it. And so they're going to cut out a lot of the waste that was happening in the past. It's going to be fairly targeted, pre-arranged, pre-cut, those kinds of things. And so we're going to give that another try. And the costs are covered. So thank you to Solaris and /Sewerline. Our own teacher here, Cassandra Baker Watson, organized a fundraiser for Hurricane Melissa, for her home country of Jamaica. And it wasn't just at Dr. Kearney, come around the community and district, and they'll be sending those off. I believe we haven't shipping those in barrels to Jamaica. So grateful for the social attention that was brought to bear by Cassandra. 9 barrels so far. 9 barrels so far. Fantastic. Trustee Campbell mentioned the Para Cup. It was a huge success. Hockey Canada has gone out of its way to recognize the participation of the 2 school districts and just how great it was for the players who have never participated with that kind of ambiance for a Paralympic hockey tournament. So it was really great. And grateful to the city of Dawson Creek. I have included there a link just to give you a sense of, how unique this sport is and how athletic to watch them with both hands switching from left to right with those sticks. They're used to propel them as well as to handle the puck at the same time. And it was highly entertaining. So our kids got a really neat perspective on this particular sport. Once again, the Fort St. John Firefighters Charity, he always texts me about this time of the year, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff to donate. And the last couple of years, it has specifically been with Lux Apparel. And she's been incredibly generous with boxes, about 6 full boxes of winter gear, which is the very thing that was needed for some of our families. So we then solicit the schools who tell us exactly what they need, sizes, and those are put to good use out in our schools. So grateful for that. And of course, as per the policy that the board will be looking at tonight, we are ready with the AEDs. Of course, we're already in place. The operations, our secretary treasurer, and the naloxone kits will also be made available with that special signage and the training of the relevant staff to be carried out in the new year. So we are on track as a district in terms of those requirements. Under student learning, career and skill development for Career Education Week, Mr. Campbell's prepared a number of different reports here on things happening in and around the district. Pardon me. Please have a read. Also, grateful for the Coastal Gas Link award of $10,000 for shop improvements, and I believe he's going to be checking in with the Dr. Kearney and the Crescatu shops around some improvements to equipment, and that kind of thing. So really grateful for that. I actually just found out tonight that there's just in the last week here, a 10,000 donation from CNRL for Project Heavy Duty as well. Really pleased. You know, we've gone and sort of, it's either feast or famine, it seems sometimes, when you put out the interest for admin postings and that kind of thing. And for whatever reason, we asked the admin group to do some shoulder tapping to talk to some of the teachers. We felt that would be perhaps well suited for future leadership positions. And we have 11 that have signed up for a 4-week course through the BC PVPA called Explorations. We're going to cover the cost, and I'll be checking in with that group at the end of the course. So pretty exciting about it. And, you know, thanks to the board for the support of the district dinner and dance, and Sharon Shell, of course, is the backbone of the organization there. And, you know, for a cost of $35 per ticket, they get at least a value of $75 when it comes to the music, the prizes, and there were terrific prizes there this year. Many trustees were there. Thank you. And it was great. And then a number of items here also under pupil development here for courses for staff, often as is the case around autism, behavior, our Reading 73 assessment schedule on the way up here. And we continue to work with Dr. Stock, and he is providing support, not just for teachers, but for support staff, for administrators, and in fact, even operationally, just in terms of some of our processes around behavior, and continues to be incredibly well respected and helpful in the district. Under Truth and Reconciliation, a great article from Energetic City here with Pat Jansen, talking about her programming. And I was with Helen for our most recent Indigenous Education Council, where Linda Dufresne took on her first meeting as the new chair. So she's with the Métis Society. What's her exact role? In any case, represents the Métis Society, and so staff are supporting her in this kind of new model as per the terms of reference under Bill 40. And again, great culture and climate with our IEC, and we're really grateful for it. Take 3, please have a read through some of the celebrations around the district. The ELC Movember paper airplane contest, raising money. Margaret Ma this time instead of Ambrose won the fire prevention week and had a pizza for the entire school. And Alan Holland contributed to the Huskies Fill the Bus campaign.
Did 101, and so did Crescatu.
Terrific.
Not Crescatu. 101 North East and Allen Hall.
Fantastic. Item number 2 is for a breakout. Actually, items 2, 3, 4, and 5 are to be broken out for motions. Item number 2 is to have the artificial intelligence guidelines endorsed. Then number 3, community coaches. Number 4, out of district field trips. Finally, post responsibility, and that is my report.
Could I please have a motion to accept the purpose of Stephen's report that you not require motion? Thomas? And then Heather.
Oh, sorry. And then I missed one. If I turn the page under operations, security issues in schools, basically nothing to report. I think I did that, but okay. And so that was, sorry, I missed that. Yeah.
You missed something today too. All right, let's go through the aspects of Stephen's report. We'll take a look first of all at the Human Resources report. Any questions, comments here? Going to the electronic report then, to the top of the report. Capstone projects. I appreciated the information about the capstone projects because that gives me somebody asked me what they were, and that article from Chilliwack was really easy.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right. been exciting. What I like about the fact is that that go-kart club is after school. It really gives some of those kids that are into that a place to kind of belong and come in. But
Out of curiosity, has the board put anything specifically into that in the past? Have we considered it at all?
In what sense?
Putting a little bit extra in, maybe help buy a go-kart or something like that for kids. Throw it out there as an idea, or some extra parts, things like that. I understand we fund most of the programming as well, but I think just an extra, hey, thank you for putting the work in.
are you suggesting we ask Stephen is to inquire as to their need
Yeah.
and bring that back to us and see if there's a special, something we can do for them?
Yeah, and I was just there talking to Chris, the principal, and Will. And since this article by CBC, some industry has reached out. And they're asking what metal do you need? Parts do you need? Things like that. But I'll check to see if there's any gaps. Bring that back to you. Happy to do that.
Veggie program? The stuff getting stuffed in barrels was really interesting.
Yeah. I guess that's how they ship it.
Oh, the barrels were painted pretty. And I've talked to a few kids about the para hockey, and everybody, no matter what school I've talked to, is so excited to be there.
Question on that one, Stephen.
Yes.
Did we provide the teachers or with any follow-up or preamble information so they could present the kids beforehand and then?
Yeah, and I mean, the uptake on that, I'm not sure, but it was at least 4 to 6 weeks prior to, I provided a unit that was actually created by City of Dawson Creek around activities for various, I think, 3 different grade levels for what is para hockey, some information on the teams themselves and countries. And so, yeah. And as I think, I don't know if I've mentioned, it was entirely the cost. Tickets were paid for by industry. And we covered the cost of the buses and the food. So for the students and the schools, there was no cost.
Questions related to the naloxone signage? Lots of exciting things.
Just make sure that you
Yeah, as always, lots going on here on the career side.
BC PDA course sounds interesting.
Well, I mean, in the past, we've run a leadership academy every couple of years, but the interest varies. I was not, I think we sent out 14 invitations and 11 of those 14 signed up. So the uptake and the interest was really high. And this isn't even asking everybody. It was school principals shoulder tapping and talking to individuals. So really viable and potential leads for future needs. Yeah.
What I liked about the concept that the BPA was doing, that can give you that full broad provincial perspective, and then allows us, if we've got a local spin, to follow up with some local aspects and build on what they've done.
Absolutely, and we've really developed a great relationship with the BPA. They were here last summer for our events and did a workshop as part of our prep for the year startup, and they're just doing a terrific job.
We paired up with them for a learning series for our new and newer administrators as well. So we had session number 1 last month, a series of 3 sessions. So it does that very thing, Helen. You've got the provincial perspective, but then the table talk is more local context. Yeah. So it's really good.
Good. Did this invite go out to everybody then, or was it just those 14 people that were?
It was as per the principals and vice principals talking to who they thought would be appropriate for leadership positions in the future. Now, that doesn't mean that those are we got everybody we thought we should have. Each year we'll keep shoulder tapped.
And when, in the past, when the districts run a leadership academy, it's been open to anybody that wants to sign up. With the understanding is it's to see how you like it, but participation in an academy or those leadership academies didn't mean that you would necessarily get in, but it just, I think, improved the overall knowledge of the role of the industry.
And gives us a chance to get to know some of them a little better.
Would you say shoulder tapping would be more successful?
A great question. We'll see. I mean, you know, like as Helen said, the leadership academies were open. They had to apply and write why, and then we would select a little bit that way. But this way, I decided to try because of this partnership with the BC PDPA. The principals and vice principals kind of wanted a little bit more say in who is being invited, and so it was good up.
I think that would probably be more successful because they see them on the ground every day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you know what kind of uptake there is on that virtual course?
I'm not sure, but I could likely find out if they track it.
That's another one
Yeah.
that some local follow-up.
Yeah.
With our context here
Mhm.
would be good for.
Yeah.
I know that some of us, after we had done Popard, got together and followed up many moons ago.
Well, just because Stephen had mentioned about Project Heavy Duty, I just wanted to mention that when we went to Vancouver and on the flight back, Brian Sroers and Gord Clausen and a couple other business people were on, and I had my heavy duty jacket on. And so we had a conversation about what a risk it was when we first started this, because they knew I was involved way back then and how successful it was. And they're just really appreciative, and I thank the community and them for, you know, everything they put into it too. So it's still out there. It's a hot topic still when you're talking to the industry, and I told them, you know, we couldn't do it without them.
Thanks for taking the opportunity because it is a true partnership with industry.
And it's Brian's birthday. I don't even know how old he is, but I won't even ask.
I was at the high school today, and actually, Jeff was talking to me, and he got to see the $10,000 check they gave, kind of thing.
There you go.
He was quite happy.
I'll bet. Yeah, well, his job relies on it.
All right, in your package, you have the artificial intelligence guidelines that are being proposed for the district that we're asking for our endorsement. Can you give a little bit of background, Stephen, as to the process?
Yeah.
For these, the development of these?
Yeah, so it's been nearly a year, and of course, as you know, we've had some workshops with the trustees and the ministry itself, kind of kick this off with some overarching pieces. And then we've been working specifically with West Vancouver as well as Surrey over the last 6 to 8 months, just on what they've been doing, and we've been connecting with them in terms of some of the training. And in fact, we have a trustee on the AI committee. And so these have been looked at for a while now, as well as with the posts of responsibility teachers. And so they've taken it back. The admin group has taken them back. And now what will likely, if it's endorsed tonight, is then there would be specific follow-up for teachers, for students, for operations. But these are kind of just the overarching pieces that it's important to have that governance, guidance, and approval for the future work that still needs to happen. But we feel, at this point, staff feel fairly confident that these umbrella type guidelines will cover the work that we still need to do moving forward.
Two questions. So is this, I mean, the poster part of it, is that what we are foreseeing in every classroom?
Potentially, it's more kind of the working guidelines for staff right now. It's not necessarily the thou shalt for the students yet, because we've not really gotten into depth into the student aspect of the use of AI. Is we want to start with how do the adults and how do the staff, what do they need to think about in terms of AI?
Okay, that does answer my second question.
Okay.
Even I thought the only use AI tools that the school district has approved.
Yeah.
Yes, you can control that with staff.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, but eventually, it's about in the classrooms using AI, the students would be directed towards a suite of tools like Gemini, by the way, which we're going to have available for students, and Microsoft Copilot and Teacher Aid, for example. It would only be in the context of those approved tools that have their privacy impact assessment done, that in school would be used. In school. Kids are using all kinds of things already, as are their parents.
Any other comments or questions?
It's here, whether we want it to be here or not, it's here.
Mhm.
And I think it's important that we address this in a unified way. And I think this is a good step in that direction.
I think that concept of personally identifiable is really, really important to stress. And it's in there.
And the tools that our staff use as well, as if students are using them under the supervision of staff, is that they're in-house and they don't remember or save the prompts and the personal from any personal.
Could I please have someone make the motion that the Board of Education approve the overarching guidelines for artificial intelligence use in School District 60? Moved by David, seconded by Thomas. Any further discussion?
Actually, I have one more question.
Okay.
I take it when this rolls out, we're going to do workshops and stuff around this, PD days, things like that.
They've already been happening, and we've just had draft written on these for the last 8 to 12 months. And the work of the committee, David's on that committee, continues with the post of responsibility ongoing.
Any further discussion? Leah?
Motion for his overall report.
Thomas Madden.
All right, calling the question then, all in favor? Thank the staff for their work on it.
You bet.
Right. There was in September, we looked at community coaches list. We have some additions to that all right now related to North Keys. They're added and good. These people are for all sports, so they must be very, we have Mark Offers, Krista Knoppers, Robin Clem, Brian Delay, Earl Jen, Toledo, Labadia, and Blake Stephen Fleming. So if I could get a
There's a
motion.
previous page as well.
Sure.
But those were approved.
Those were already
Had to start. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, they had to start. So if we could get a mover and a seconder for that community coaches and make a motion, that the Board of Education approve that community coaches as presented. Paul and Ida. Calling the question then, all in favor? And we've got some out-of-district field trips in here.
I'll make the motion.
We'll make a motion that we approve the attached out-of-district field trips as presented. Give you a quick second to look at it, then call for a seconder.
I'll second it.
Seconded by David.
I have a question.
Okay, yep. So ask for further discussion before calling the question.
I know. Because it does feel like a little bit of just doing it. But the junior girls, for example, it's February, so that I'm just asking.
Which one are we looking at?
I think it's on page 2. It is. Junior girls going to Prince George.
February 13th and 14th.
14, yeah.
Yeah.
So right now we just have one person listed that we're obviously gonna approve, but my guess is there's gonna be more. Does this ever come back to us, or are we just sliding in people afterwards?
Or in terms of coaches?
Yeah, or just, I mean,
The teacher sponsors.
sponsors or. It's just my question.
Yeah, no,
because, like I said,
that's a gap
sometimes-
on that one. There should be the teacher sponsors, and the chaperones.
Oh, maybe it is on the.
No, it's not.
Probably.
No, that's good catch. That's missing and we'll, either they don't know that at this point, but yes, you would be expected that information is passed on.
Yeah, and I know we can approve it, but then my question is just simply, so would it come back to us once we know, or?
I can certainly bring back who are the chaperones, like the missing pieces of information there, yes.
Okay, so missing pieces of information.
The girls tournament, yeah,
It is a bit ways out, but.
that's okay. But we have all the information for the other ones. That seems to be the only one where we don't have the chaperones. Yeah, thank you.
All right, calling, almost,
With all of our lovely weather happening, is it the coaches that make a decision not to go? Which principals? Where does that come from?
Drivers, coaches and school together. At the end of the day, however, the professional drivers would make that ultimate call.
any further questions? Calling the question then, all in favor? Thank you. All right. We're going to look now at a post of responsibility that's part of your package. Could I please have someone make the motion that the Board of Education approve the attached post of responsibility? Thomas and David? Any further discussion? Okay, calling the question then, all in favor?
Even. About that? Here, I think.
Oh, what, sorry.
If somebody, like post responsibility or something like that.
Yes.
If somebody goes out sick leave. Is that, and they don't get paid for this post responsibility as well as their sick leave went on, do they?
Yeah, they're on sick leave from, including that.
Yeah. So then you have a.
There would be no teachers, use, sick days.
Yeah.
While off on sick leave, so there'd be no impact to pay.
But post responsibility stays with them.
Yes. Yeah. Technically, they are on leave from that as well.
Curious.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Thank you. The last item, Helen, there was, I missed it, security issues in school, just that I reached out to the administrators. This is part of kind of the ongoing question from trustees, kind of based in what was initially going to be the center near Central School, but nothing to report at this time in terms of any changes or significant security issues. We'll revisit this again in the spring in terms of what the cleanup is or what tents that appear and those kinds of things. But essentially right now, no change from the last time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen. We're moving on to the Secretary Treasurer's report. And we'll turn it over to Angela.
For my report, I have the finance update to November 30th, 2025, and the HR support staff summary. November 14th. That is my report.
I have a mover and a seconder. Moved by Nicole, seconded by Madeline. Discussion now related to Angela's report, and we'll start with the financial report. Financial update to November 30th.
Ask Angela. Just because the very bottom number is a negative.
Yes.
A negative number.
In that way from start of school year.
Yeah.
It's actually, this is a great number compared to what it showed last month. And the grants are coming in, but there will be an adjustment. We're getting the ministry adjusted tables, December 18th. So, then we'll present a new budget, an amended budget in February, which will, require some adjustments. I believe.
Well, it's nice that the interest is higher because that, you know, might help with what didn't come in under students.
We may save Christmas after all.
Do you have any understanding as to why our educational assistant and support staff spending is lower than expected at this time? Is that still we can't staff, or?
It could be a combination of things. Like when we do the preliminary budget, we base it on the percentage of allocation for the learning support model that we had in the previous year. So I can look into that, see just what the numbers are looking like for EAs. Or
Sometimes what they
it's also-
decide to spend on is not, you know, it's
True, that's fair. And then also, how the pay periods fall. Like last year, I know in November, we had 3 pay periods, so those come into this.
Any other questions related to the budget update?
The idea what offshore tuition is now, you know, it says a little lower, slightly lower, but any insight as to why, or?
Well, that 720 is based on Brian Campbell's projection at the time of the budget. So just slightly down, the enrollment would be what we would look at, and I can bring that back for the next meeting, what our enrollment is.
we just he ended up with fewer students than he had projected.
I'll just give.
Knew it was gonna be cold and snowy.
You were waiting for bad weather. They knew it.
All right, HR summary report. Any questions they wanted to ask? Calling the question now, then on Angela's report, all in favor? Moving on to item number 9, reports of the regular committee as a whole meeting on December the 1st, 2025, which is pages 22 to 24 in the packet. Great. I have a mover and a seconder for that, please. Moved by Ida, seconded by David.
Helen, does it not have to be
Yeah, I
someone
was
that?
just gonna say it has to be, so it has to be Nicole.
Yeah, it has to be Nicole.
Thank you. It has to be Nicole, based on who was there. Thank you. Just thinking that. All right, there is some business arising from those minutes. We, at that committee of the whole meeting, had talked about the board advance and setting some dates for that. And since we set the date, and the date, I believe, was set in those minutes where we talked about it, Stephen has the opportunity to do some training related to something else, and he's brought some other dates back for the advance. And so he is suggesting that we take a look at January 19th for 2019, 20?
No.
That's when you're doing the training, sorry. We scheduled the event for Monday, February the 23rd. That doesn't work. So the dates that Stephen's suggesting now are Monday, February 9th, Friday, February 27th, or Monday, March the 9th, which is already a committee of the whole day.
Board meeting.
Committee of the whole board meeting. So my concern with the 9th is if we do have all of the policy stuff that we need to work on, prior to that, that makes it a really long day if we go for a full day and then board meeting at night. So I'm just wondering, about either based on that, wondering about the 9th, which is a Monday, or the 27th, which is a Friday.
You can type out preferences. I prefer the 27th.
Friday, any other people?
Friday's better for me.
Okay. Other comments? So Friday, February 27th.
Both are okay for me. I prefer Mondays just because it's in my head Monday, but I can do both. So if we decide here that we don't,
Oh, actually, I'm at playoffs in Fort Nelson.
Pardon?
I'm at playoffs in Fort Nelson. So I won't be here.
On the Friday,
The 27th.
27th. So should we look then at Monday? What, do you have a conflict on the night?
I'm unsure. That's the only thing. I'm not 100% sure. That's still still percolating, that's all. And it's not up to me, so. But possible I'm here too. So.
All right, let's go with the 9th then.
February.
February, yeah, Monday the 9th.
Is that like an all day meet or?
Well, yeah. It has been all day. We'll do our data walk in the morning and then work on a strategic plan. And you'll note in the business arising, one of the things that we had said we would be doing is taking a look at committee of the whole of each strand of the strategic plan and say, yep, this is what we've worked on so far in this. This is some things that we need to look at for the future or ask some questions about. And with only 3 of us being at that last committee of the whole meeting, we moved that strand of the strategic plan until January when we had more people there.
I will try.
Calling the question then, all in favor? Carried. And we've done the business arising. So we're moving on to take a look at policy. Number 9 on our agenda, moving on to 9.3. And from the policy committee, we're bringing forward motion 5004.2, child abuse reporting protocol. Was there any feedback from the field on any of the motions, either for addition or deletion? Okay. And that I had conversation with many groups about why policy goes out, and please respond back. So opportunity was given. So David moved that I need a seconder to 5004.2 that the Board of Education approves the adoption of policy 5004.2 child abuse reporting calls with the noted correction. Seconded by Ida. Any further discussion? looked at it previously. Calling the question in, all in favor? And the next two are policy changes, are deletions of policies, because remember, we amalgamated and put some changes into the policy that we just passed. So Ida's already moved that the Board of Education approves the deletion of policy 5004, child abuse. Do I have a seconder now? Seconded by Bill. All in favor? Thank you. Policy 5004.1, Trustee Gillis made the motion that the Board of Education approves the deletion of policy 5004.1, reporting of suspected child abuse and neglect. Could I have a second? Seconded by Thomas. Calling the question. All in favor? New policy 5013, emergency health responses, AEDs, and naloxone kits. Trustee Whitten moved that the Board of Education approves the adoption of this policy. Emergency health response. I need a seconder, please. Seconded by Madeline. And after our labor management meeting, I expected that you might have some feedback on policy because remember there was lots of questions there. No? Okay. No further discussion, calling the question. All in favor? Thank you.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Power in that.
All right, Indigenous Education Council update. Stephen, in his report, included a picture of the passing of the torch from Pat Jansen to Linda. It was the first meeting, and the last meeting Ida attended, and the Indigenous Education Council had said they didn't want both Ida and I attending, but some of the invitations and things for this new first time with the different chair weren't totally straightened out. So there's a couple of things that need to get straightened out before the next meeting. Most of the meeting had to do with a report back on different professional development initiatives that have been ongoing for our Indigenous education staff, as well as some of our students. And the other thing that was of note that was mentioned is Prophet River had reached out and had asked for a place on our Indigenous Education Council. We have 20 students from Prophet River in the district. Prophet River also sits on Fort Nelson's Indigenous Education Council. So the way it came about and the decision that was made there is they're always welcome to attend, but your primary Indigenous Education Council rests with Fort Nelson because that's where the majority of the Prophet River students. I think there was anything else, David. I did review with Linda at this time that there is a standing item on our agenda, and welcomed her and told her that she was more than welcome to come and talk to us at any point in time and to give an update. And I did tell her what I would be saying at this meeting, so I've done what I said I would do.
So just to add to that, the one I went to previous, we had Carlene and Pat Jensen coming to the board and do the guidelines, and that's what that one was mostly about. But at that particular meeting, and I know at yours as well, I think they talk about the knowledge keepers.
Yeah.
And I think that that was something that when I was there at the last one, we had asked if they could do a presentation on the knowledge keepers because they didn't have a book the day I was there.
Right.
They were going to get one. They both said yes, but it's probably just slipped their mind that we should have one on the knowledge keepers and what the knowledge keepers are
doing. Because when Pat talked, she thought, well, we already did that with the board, but I went back and looked, and what we got was basically the cultural competency and the cultural training. The knowledge keepers piece wasn't there. And it was fuzzy in my mind because when I had gone to the planning meeting in September at Cameron Lake, I did see the start of it. So I knew I'd seen it somewhere, but it definitely wasn't at our table.
Awesome.
and the knowledge. Yeah.
Pardon?
We saw a clip from Knowledge Keep.
Yeah, but they actually have a local knowledge.
They have
keeper
local knowledge
book that
keepers.
I think that we should.
Yeah. It says who the knowledge keepers are and what they're willing to come in
Yeah.
Do
and
you want to
do.
get a copy of that or?
I think it would be worth seeing, and it
It would be
also
worth even the board having a presentation on
I'd be
the knowledge keepers and
who they are.
And like I said, the day I was there, they just didn't have a copy. And they said they were going to bring it to the board and present it. So
Other little pro D piece.
Yeah, that could be another little pretty
Yeah.
piece, because in addition to sort of who the knowledge keepers are, there were protocols about how you invite, what you do when they come.
Right.
Things like that, that I just think are good background for us to have.
There's even some local ones that they could actually have one or two of the local ones come
Yeah.
to the board.
Can I ask a question? Do the teachers get a copy of that? Or do the principals
The
get a copy of
principals have
that?
a copy of it right now, was what was presented at the meeting. They've gone through it with the administrators.
There's a protocol they have to follow.
The protocol that they have to follow and don't
It's kind
ask
of
me to remember.
There's a group, but the right fit will depend, teacher would have a say in that, but there's a group you can call on. You can't just go and decide yourself who is the knowledge keeper. First Nations have sort of vetted that.
Oh, 100% that.
Sorry, who's Linda?
Linda Dufresne?
Linda Dufresne?
Has she taken over for Pat?
Yes.
Like in the principle of?
No, not
no.
as principal.
As the chair.
You remember the Indigenous Education Council?
I remember the council, I just wanted.
It can no longer be chaired by an employee.
Oh.
It must be chaired by somebody from the Indigenous Education Council.
Okay.
Typically, Pat has chaired those meetings, so
Gotcha.
it was kind of almost a bit of a co-chair for this meeting, but there will be a passing of the torch. And the secretariat for the Indigenous Education Council is Ruth Chenard. And so
When did it change? I couldn't be an employee.
She's the data process compliance manager at Canadian Nation.
And Linda has been involved with our education for years, like before we even had our first enhancement agreement, Linda was there on it. So she's got really lots of background.
So by having Linda now, like last year, when Bill 40 first came into effect, our Indigenous Education Council said, thank you very much. We like how we're operating. We're not going to set a chair yet. We're going to have Pat continue to be chair. But then some of the legislation came down and that expectation was there that it would be chaired by somebody other than
Oh,
a
so it's
district
legislation that
employee.
decided.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Bill 40 legislation. So we're now in alignment with that legislation and having somebody other than a staff member chair.
Although that is not the case in all 60 districts. So some First Nations have taken a stand and said, regardless of the legislation, we will decide
Chairs are.
who chairs, what we do, and those kinds of things. There's a bit of an ongoing healthy tension right now between IEC's First Nations and the government.
The mess.
Did they get a vice chair?
No, they
Because,
didn't get a
okay,
vice
because
chair.
they didn't have enough there the time I was
They,
there. that
they
Linda
had
took it.
quorum, so there was definitely quorum and there was definitely representation from all of the rights holders in our region. But people wanted to ponder and consider vice chair again, so they tabled the election of the vice chair to the next Indigenous Education Council meeting, which for some reason I think is in January, but again, that's memory and,
February.
February. All right. Other reports, moving on to BCSTA, Trustee Snow, do you want to start with your academy report of it?
Okay.
Oh, sounds amazing.
Sorry.
Was it riveting?
He always showed you his cedar weaving, that
No,
actually.
it was good. It was good. The biggest thing I take from these, I mean, and definitely not the only thing, but the biggest thing is just the networking and the meeting and the realizing that, yes, we're rural and yes, we're supposed to be, remote kind of thing, but learning where some of these places are and how out of the way they are. I'm just shaking my head going, how dare I ask, like, HR questions when these guys are like, how do they ever get people? And I mean, I'm just trying to remember the couple of classes we had there. But I mean, there was a bunch of good stuff. I thought it was more variety this time. I really enjoyed that. I thought there was more variety of things to do. So it was very good.
Ida?
Yeah, I think that, I really enjoyed the academy, and I'm starting to think I've been a trustee too long, because I've seen it come full circle of academies. And I thought this was more global and more, not just zoned into one area. I think like our keynote speaker, I thought she was fantastic. And, she talked about a variety of things, not just zoning in on one particular item or issue that's going on. I thought she was really good talking about all different cultures and what we deal with, and I had fun at the pre-conference, even though I couldn't do my reading very well. And but I thought that there was a lot of educational theme to this one.
Yeah.
And I was a rebel trustee because we did have one thing that I did right back in the academy survey, that no board would be put in a position that they had asked us to be in, and it was where we had to make a decision. I know that what they were trying to do was trying to get us to think why we would make that decision. But I'll tell you, our board all said we wouldn't do it. We would ask for more information. We wouldn't just do a judgment call that night. And, you know, as a trustee, I've worked hard with other trustees and stuff to say, when you have a presentation and when you do that, you don't have to make a split moment decision, because that's not the best informed way. And I did, even though they told me not to write it on my survey, I did. I told them that they should have reframed and done it a little bit different, because no trustee should ever be put in.
And I think that was really important feedback, because that example was part of their new trustee training modules.
And that's what I said, you know, if you hadn't been a trustee for a while, you would think maybe you do have to make that decision at that moment.
So I did catch Trevor on that one afterwards, and he's the one that it was a soft start on that training. And I kind of challenged him too on the same thing, because I said, you have to picture a table with brand new trustees, and it can happen, because last year was a 60% turnover. So you could have, and you have to make it clear that this is actually not a real life.
Yeah, they tried really hard to give us a worst case scenario and, solve this right now kind of theory.
And we were not allowed to abstain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Madeline?
I really appreciated the educational part of it too. There were quite a few governance pieces in the breakout sessions that I thought were very well done, very helpful, and not just at this board table, but I pictured myself in other situations too, and I thought it is very helpful. I wish more people could learn because it was just good, clear, information. The critical thinking consortium was interesting as well. I thought they had a very good presentation on that, and the keynote, I think, just even the way she started, what stuck with me was she said that so often we feel like we can't make a difference, but we can't forget that a lot of these issues, discussions actually start at the kitchen table and then move their way up. So I thought that's a good encouragement if you feel that nothing's ever going to change. So.
It's very encouraging. We'll be down there and they'll bring things up and we'll be like, hey, or me and Ida will look at each other and go, hey, we do that. And it's stuff that we're already doing here that they're suggesting that the district should do. And so it's very nice to see that.
Who was the keynote?
Sarah Mulholland.
Yeah, it was a senator.
Yes, fair.
Yeah, I think so. I don't have it turned to my notes, but yeah, part of the problem is I was going to check, but they haven't put any of the slides or any of the information up on the portal yet.
So they were sending us, they were like, don't write notes, don't take any pictures, we'll send everything to you.
Yeah. But it hasn't happened yet, so.
I'll look for it.
And on Saturday morning, we had the Minister of Infrastructure.
Yeah, Owen Ma.
Yes,
Yeah.
and actually she did a very good, and it kind of helped with the picture and how things have changed and where we're at now. So I thought that was very helpful.
So would that be all schools?
Yeah, that's schools, hospitals. Yeah.
The variety was much more.
So for me, I did enjoy the pre-academy, the Haida ceremony in the season and the use of plants and medicines and things was quite interesting. I enjoyed the session on the trustee code of conduct and freedom of expression, and I'm looking forward to that information being posted. It was a lawyer that presented, and apparently she also presented to the Superintendent's Association. And she missed the last half and said, but go talk to your supers, they have this information. So
She even has the slides.
yeah, we thought you might have the slides. And they had Lisa Swarm again, with parliamentarian, who I quite enjoy, and I went to her session on sharing through conflict. I just already covered our dissatisfaction with people governing the public trust session. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, a week before Academy, I was invited to sit on a panel related to childcare that started off after the minister spoke on childcare, and it's making me guilty because I was supposed to get back to Matt sitting over there, and I went, oh, I forgot about that. But the panel had Emily Arthur, who is the lead from childcare on school grounds, and she doesn't normally come and speak to anything. So that was quite interesting to see because she was supposed to talk about what the ministry's vision and goals are. And I'm not sure how clear it was, but that was what her question was. So then they had Tim Davey, who is the superintendent of Cowichan Valley, and he was another one of the districts that got the integration money. And he was to share about his experience as a superintendent in expanding access and then third party operated programs. And then there was the secretary treasurer for Vernon. And then there was me, and it was talk about your experience expanding access to childcare and school grounds, including how SD 60 Peace River North has been navigating year-round operations. So I did focus, and I could type it up and send it out, but I talked about our strategic plan, how we got there in our strategic plan. The fact that it's not just childcare for us, it's early learning and childcare that not all our communities want before and after school daycare. They want preschool opportunities, they want early learning opportunities, and I was able to give, because Tracy LaRiviere, and I have to always know, she met with me when we had the question, and I said, okay, what's really important for me to say? And I made sure that I covered some of the things that were important to her and actually had factual detail in there. And Jen McCrae, when she spoke, one of the things that I was going to bring up was the licensing stupidity, where in our schools, the kids could be using a certain size toilet all day long, but at the end of the day, when it switches to daycare, it's supposed to be a different hot water temperature and a different size toilet you're using. And the fact that there's a lot of the licensing things that need to get sorted out because they're creating hardship. So it was only supposed to be 4 minutes, and I think I hit the 4-minute mark, but basically was able to reiterate everything we've said to the Finance Standing Committee, everything we've already said to Minister Baer, and then roll in some of the information that came out at our meeting in Terrace, because across the north, the lack of structure and guidance around childcare
You must
is
have
a common
talked fast to
concern.
get all of that in 4 minutes.
She did very well.
I left a few pieces out, but yeah, I did.
And I have to say, and what I appreciated, Helen, it was, and like, it's a good, I'm not saying it's bad, but there was a lot of very, or this is, it's all great. And you did bring in some cautionary things. We need to watch this. And I think it was appreciated. I happened to be walking with Helen and a lot of people approached her. And because I think we need to keep the full picture in mind too. It's not just roll it out and let's not worry about who's going to pay or how it's going to work with licensing. So I thought it was very good that you kind of.
Let's just say people appreciated the fact that I was candid. I heard that. It wasn't sugar coated. Yeah.
Also, Stephen, like I was saying, we're heading some things. I had 2 trustees come to me and ask if I could pass on connections to them from our district because they're hurting for their trades and their funding for their trades and such. And they were complimenting. They were like, you guys are so far ahead in your trades. You guys find what you need for it. Like, how do you do it?
For our career programs.
Yeah. They're like, we're like losing them. We're having to close them.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And these 2 trustees came to me from different districts in the south, and we're just complimenting ours.
Nice. Yeah, if they connect with their own superintendent and then they can reach out to us that way, no problem.
Yeah.
I've connected Ryan with lots of people across British Columbia.
And from the rural and remote perspective, the chart that showed the number of LOPs and use of non-certified TTOCs that Stephen put together from across the north for us that we looked at the joint meeting. We at Rural and Remote wrote a letter to BC Teachers Council on their proposed changes to certification and their levels, and basically said, this is a lot of bureaucracy and we're not really sure it's given us the flexibility that we're asking for. And to look at these models without knowing how you're going to change some of the post-secondary things and how you're going to react to some of these things, it wasn't worth looking at. So right now, there's a few things from Rural and Remote that seems to be hot up, I don't know, going to comms and things like that, and they will eventually make their way out into the weekly. But the work of the Northern Superintendents on providing real life data that can't be argued with is been very significant. So again, thanks for that. BCPC, Trustee Lehman.
Well, thanks to Ida and Helen for the nomination. I did put my name into the hat for the BCPC, I guess, for Northern Interior Branch. For the AGM will be on the 29th of January, virtual. So. And I do believe there is one from Prince George as well.
Yeah, Sarah Holland.
There will be an actual.
So they're still, in the way BCPC works, there still could be another nomination from the floor, and the person is selected by those people that are at the trustees that are at the BCPC AGM. It's not a Northern Interior Branch pick, so, right? So, Board Pro D Committee, we'll see about getting a presentation related to knowledge keepers to come forward. And on your behalf, I attended the last DPAC meeting and was able to go over sort of some processes and protocols, and the Santa letters, they realized it hadn't gone through all of the right channels, and there was time, and there was some packs that said yes, some that said no. And so it was, well, what are the channels? So I went through that you would go through Stephen, who would do the reach out, and it was left as a maybe next year. And I also at the DPAC meeting reminded them that they have a standing invite to come to our regular board meeting and bring forward a report. And because at Labor Management, I had gone through the notice of motion on policy and the process for policy, I also reviewed that there because as members of the public, and then they have a right to respond to any of those policy updates that are ongoing. So that has been reviewed now. And I also took the opportunity to go over that at the NPA meeting as well. So there's any other user groups out there that need to hear that messaging, let me know. But been pretty consistent with getting it out there. And our Northern Interior Branch meeting is scheduled for January 23rd and 24th in Prince George. The registration and everything is not up on the portal and out to executive assistants yet, but it will be. If you have any ideas, if you look at the format of the agenda and the work that we need to do to prepare for the MLA forum, there's 2 chunks in there, about an hour, hour and a half, that we need to have topics and things for. And there's not a lot of direction left in what people have said to me before, what they'd like to do next. So if you have any wonderful ideas, please let me know. Moving on. I don't have anything under correspondence.
You passed around a letter, right?
Pardon?
The letter you passed around earlier?
Oh, yeah. A thank you from Stephen related to the gift baskets for the Christmas dinner was passed around earlier. Thank you, Bill, for that reminder. I just opened that today, so. All right. And under unfinished business, included in your package are the latest statistics from the OPS site. It is now closed. The tent is closed due to winter conditions, so there won't be any more updates on monthly visits for a while till they either reopen the tent. Overall, the rate in BC right now is 32.2 deaths per 100,000 individuals in 2025. That's in drug overdoses. In our region, we have the highest rates were in Northern Health, where when they take a look at our population, they're saying there's 46.5 deaths per 100,000 individuals. But that is the whole Northern Health region, not necessarily just the Northeast. And in 2025, 70% of those that died in relationship to drug overdoses were aged 30 to 59, and 77% were male. I just found that an interesting statistic. I don't have anything else under new business. We don't have anybody from the PRNTA here, or QP, or DPAC, but we've hit that questions from the press and public.
Oh, let me hear it. Come on, come on, Matt.
Have anything?
Come on, Matt.
I'll just say hello.
Welcome back.
Hello. Nice to see some old familiar faces and some new faces I don't believe we've met before. I'm Matt Freebrooks, pleased to meet you. Formerly managing editor of Alaska Highway Newsletter for a couple of years, back now with the Citizens Bureau here in Fort St. John. Thanks for sharing the story and your superintendent report. Trying to get positive stories out of the classroom out to provincial audiences. So we had the go-kart story recently. There was also about a 6-minute segment that ran on Daybreak North as well for my interviews with Will McComb and the Poss brothers. Radio West, we did something recently on the hurricane fundraiser for Jamaica. Ted Sloan was just on Daybreak as well on Friday doing a little thing about the Grinch. So yeah, you know me, most of you all know me, and looking for those stories coming out of the classrooms, whether they be fun stuff like the Go-Kart Club or issues obviously within the education system that the provincial government is responsible for. So just wanted to pop in, say hello. I probably will pull a few of you off to the side for some sidebar conversations during the break, just to follow up on some things from the meeting. Otherwise, no questions from me today, but hello.
Thank you. Yes.
Welcome back.
I don't have anything intelligent to say. Does everybody have a wonderful holiday?
Well, thank you.
So how about unintelligent?
Yeah, and,
Duh.
and have a wonderful holiday, and we look forward to seeing you in the bright, shiny new year, so. So could I please have a motion to suspend our regular meeting and move into camera? Moved by Bill, seconded by David, all in favor? Leah, please stop the recording.
Let me,
Could I please have a motion that our motions from our in-camera meeting are brought forward for implementation? I need a mover and a seconder. Moved by Bill, seconded by Thomas. All in favor? Now, could I please get a motion to adjourn the meeting? The dynamic duo of Bill and Thomas, in whatever the favor.
And I get
And all in favor? Our meeting is adjourned. Leah, please stop the recording.